And then I remember coming up with this kind of thing. I don't have a name for it. I've called it the 10-finger strum before, but that's not. You start with the thumb like this, and then you come up with your baby finger, and then the other fingers, and then you come back down, leading with the baby finger all the way down. So when you play it fast, it sounds like. So that was kind of like my way of mimicking what I had heard. Yeah, but they do it quite different. I mean, for any of you that know Raschiato strums and flamenco guitar strums now, you realize that they actually lead with their index finger down like that. So it was, but it's interesting because I think sometimes when you don't, like I'm grateful that back then I didn't have access to any visual, because it allowed me to use my creativity and to just kind of come up with my own ways of creating things. I would hear different instruments like the koto, and I would come up with different techniques to. That's not even what a koto does, but when I hear something, I just kind of have to use my imagination and figure out how to create that on the ukulele.
Right? Koto is a traditional Japanese stringed instrument.
It's a Japanese,
yes. Yeah. And that was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
I didn't think about the koto, but it makes a lot of sense. And you're of Japanese heritage, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And they love you in Japan. You are like a superstar in Japan. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
I'm actually frowned upon because I don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
They look at me and like, why don't you know your own language?
But I know that Japan, you were successful. You had a recording contract in Japan. Was it 2000? As early as 2000?
Yeah, I was 5 years old. No, that's kind of where my career started. Well, of course, in Hawaii, which is where I was born and raised, in Honolulu, I had a couple bands that I played with there. We did a few albums, and we played mainly traditional Hawaiian and contemporary music, and I love that. But then after we disbanded, then I started a solo career, and the opportunity kind of came from Japan, because Hawaiian music and the ukulele is very popular in Japan. So this was back in 2000, and actually 2001, and I got my first official record deal contract with Sony Music, and I signed that, and I basically almost kind of lived in Japan, because I was spending most of the year there each year for the first maybe 5 or 6 years. And it wasn't until, and that's where I was touring and playing and recording, and I got to do some Japanese TV shows, and I don't know if you've ever seen on the internet like some of those like crazy Japanese talk shows. I mean, they're so funny, but I don't know what's going on, but it's just so funny. I'm just standing there. They have a translator, just translating things in my ear. I'm just standing there, and they're like, "Okay, say it now," and I have to say something like, "Yoroshiku onegai shimasu," and I don't even know what that means, but I just like, okay, yeah, there we go. And so I had a lot of fun, man, up in Japan. The food was fantastic, but then I did that for about 5 years, and then that's when there was a YouTube video of me playing the While My Guitar Gently Weeps thing that you mentioned that went viral, and that's what opened the doors, to coming out to the mainland here, to traveling to other countries and other places. So it really changed my life.
So that YouTube video that was all over the world and seen by all millions of people, that came as a surprised you? You were not expecting that? You didn't see it coming?
Yeah, because the video got released in 2005 on YouTube. Till this day I don't know who posted it. I mean, the interview was from a local TV show that got posted. I had done it. I was in New York for the first time for this Hawaiian Asian American festival, arts festival, and while I was there, there was just these two guys that ran a local TV show, and it was called Ukulele Disco, and they do all these funny ukulele things. And so when I came to New York, they were so excited to meet me, and they're like, "Can we interview you? Will you be on our show?" And I said, "Sure." It was the best thing I ever did, because a segment from that show is what got posted to YouTube. And that's when I played George Harrison's While My Guitar Gently Weeps in Central Park. And yeah, and then I went back home to Hawaii, and then a few months later, I had friends that were going to school on the mainland, and they would call me up and they said, "Hey, there's a video of you circulating our campus." And I said, "What are you talking about?" Because this is 2005, so you gotta remember, you couldn't email a video to somebody, or I mean, there wasn't such a thing as a viral video yet, and YouTube had just started out, so I didn't know what YouTube was. Nobody knew what that was. But so they said, "I'll send you the link," and they emailed it to me, and I clicked on the link. They said, "Yeah, just click on that thing," and I clicked on it. No, I don't think you could click on it yet. I think you had to copy it and then put it up. Yeah, you had to copy and paste it, and then that video came up, and I was like, "What is this? I don't understand how this is working." And that's really how everything happens.
Well, that's, I think we could call that your hit. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I used to joke around and tell people that I feel George Harrison had his hand in that video going viral, because, you know, he was a real advocate of the ukulele. I mean, he loved this instrument, and he had a whole collection of ukuleles. And in the later part of his career, he said several times in interviews that it's his favorite instrument, and he always traveled with 2 ukuleles because it's always more fun, you know, when you have someone to play with. And so I've always felt that was kind of his way of helping to still promote the instrument through his song, his music, while he is up there in heaven. So.
Yes. A very spiritual person too, George Harrison. And he lived in Hawaii for a time, is that correct?
Yeah, he had a house on Maui.
Yeah.
I think not sure if they still do, but yeah.
Well, some people who have hits get so tired of playing in their hits. Do you get tired of playing that? Because probably everyone wants to hear it.
I never get tired of playing it. No, I never get tired of playing it. I'd be happy to play it right now.
Does anyone want to play it?
Not sure. I guess George doesn't want me to play this right now.
It's an elevator warning, so we're gonna check this out. If you feel you want to leave right now, go ahead. But if you want to hang out, we're going to find out if we really need to leave. So bear with us just 1 second.
I don't know, should we evacuate or?
I
You
saw
just
those,
never know
I
nowadays.
saw those fighter jets over the fairgrounds earlier today. Just kidding. But
Well, at least we're all together.
We're being told to disregard that alarm, so everything's fine. There's no emergency. Please continue.
I can't think of anything to get us back in the mood than for you to continue.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. All right, yeah, here we go. Well, I'll start at a different section. Thank you very much.